Why is meeting standards not enough? If the organisation addresses the standard once and does no further work, or ticks it off and doesn't do any monitoring, they really are only meeting the minimum or good practice requirements of the standard at a single point in time. This does not have long-lasting sticking power. Environments change, both internally with new staff, new clients, and externally, such as new guidelines or legislation. Without addressing progress elements of standards, there is no way for organisations to know if what has been put in place is working, or if the documentation, awareness, and implementation is still being applied or being applied correctly. And doing the standards once, perhaps as a compliance requirement, really separates good practice and improvement from broader organisational management, which makes it somewhat ineffective. As discussed, the application of standards is not a static or one-off event. Even the foundation elements of awareness and implementation require regular and shorter cycle maintenance. And progress elements of outcome and review are ongoing practices that support the organisation to be functional, compliant, safe, and sustainable at any point in time. Organisations don't leave bookkeeping to once a year, so why would quality standards be left to the last minute? From an economical perspective, the resources invested in addressing and meeting standards requirements are not lost if standards are maintained. A straightforward way to keep your standards from slipping is to apply 3 steps. Firstly, identify how a standard is going to be implemented. That is, what processes and practice need to be in place, what records and information need to be collected, what will the regular checking and monitoring be, and what is the broader review cycle. Organisations will then be identifying the tracking and monitoring methods, which should include a schedule for internal audit for checking the requirements and compliances. This is pretty important for organisations as most have multiple requirements to keep track of. A quality improvement plan for recording improvement activities scheduled and those completed. And specific tools that support the tracking, such as forms and registers. And finally, what applications will the organisation use? Traditionally, spreadsheets and word-based applications have been used and have been somewhat successful, but there's now a greater shift towards more interactive and dynamic applications. And we would now like to show you one of these more interactive and dynamic applications that is in an area in our Standards and Performance Pathways service. As mentioned earlier, SPP is the online system for organisations to manage multiple quality and accreditation standards. But SPP also includes an area for recording and tracking organisation risks, compliance requirements, and any plans. Let's have a look at it now.